cut myself a slice of time when the wind blows, when the river meets the sea.
This is a really nice patch of scurvy grass here. One of the more useful plants to find on the seashore. Called scurvy grass because it was very commonly kept aboard ship, pickled, to prevent the crew from coming down with scurvy. And it has a slightly unusual taste, slightly peppery, but not unpleasant at all. So worth knowing what to look for, even if it's just as a preventative against any deficiencies, and help to keep your immune system up. This one, at its very early stages, it grows quite big. It's called sea holly, and it's more the roots that are of use. Used to be known as eringo, and candied eringo back in Elizabeth I times was a really popular sort of dessert. And what you do to make it is you get the roots, give them a good clean, scrape any brown bits off, and boil them in sugar. And eventually, once it reduces down, you have candied eringo, which tastes beautiful. Quite a useful plant, tastes really good. It's got a very strange aniseed flavour to it. And the leaves can be boiled as well, and they soften up when they're cooked. So these young leaves, they look quite spiny, but once they're boiled, they soften up quite nicely. This is what I call the Pepsi plant, otherwise known as rock samphire. I suppose I should say cola, just in case I upset anybody. So have a nibble of that. Tell me what you think it tastes like. Take a whole section like that. Thank you. Well,
Oh,
what do you think?
tastes like cola.
It does, doesn't it?
Definitely.
That's a great little addition to fish and things like that, so it boils up. We've moved away from the sand dune area. Now we're in an area that's effectively salt marsh, so the tide comes in and out. Not so much, once or twice a year probably at this high, but the effect is that certain plants will grow here that wouldn't grow anywhere else. And this is one of the best examples. It's called sea beet, and it's actually the ancestor of all commercially available beets, so that's beetroot, sugar beet. And the root itself's not actually worth bothering with, but the leaves are like spinach, they're really good. I think this is probably one of the nicest of all the seashore salt marsh plants. It's a bit of a salty flavour to it, but it goes really well with fish, which is ideal because if you go fishing you can go and pick some of this on the way back. Well, gorse is it's one of the few flowers that you'll find most of the year, and each bush flowers at a different time. And the part that interests us is not the spiny bits, which would definitely catch in your throat. It's the yellow flowers, which are beautiful. And this time of year we have quite a lot of them. In some places it looks like a complete yellow carpet, but if you just have a nibble on the leaves, I think they taste like almonds. Some people say coconut. They've got a really interesting flavour, all of their own. So the first thing we need to do is get ourselves a nice piece of hazel, and we're going to strip the bark away. The bark is the part that could harbour bacteria, so by removing the outer bark we get rid of any potential for bugs and parasites that might be lurking in there. And the inner bark, the cambium, is generally sterile, so that shouldn't be a problem to us. Also, by using hazel, which is a non-toxic wood, you remove any risk of poisoning yourself with toxic sap of the sort you'd get from yew or ash trees. I'm going to quickly stick that in the flames just to make doubly sure that we've sterilised it. And I keep that from touching anything else. Next thing, these are the skewers that will go through the mackerel to hold it onto the stick. Okay, next thing we need to do is to split the wood down the middle. Not all the way to the end though, we just need to get to within a centimetre or so of the end. That looks fine. Open the split up. So we start the cut off here and work our way up between the two front fins, and then also cut further back towards the tail, just a little way. That should be about right. And then we'll pull the entrails out. Mackerel aren't too bad. Some fish have a lot of guts, but these are pretty gutless fish. It comes out easy. Just make sure you get as much as you can out. Throw it in the fire. You don't want this stuff hanging around because it stinks. So we'll just get rid of it in the fire. And then our skewer stick runs up through the middle of the fish. Out through the mouth, and then we need to locate the split so that we can get our skewers through. So make sure these are good and sharp. Put the skewer through the first part, find the split in the wood, there we have it, and then make sure the skewer goes through the other side. You can also stick a skewer through the tail section as well, just to make sure that's held on. Now that means that the fish can be turned over the fire, and we can just leave it now at a good height above the fire to cook slowly. We don't want to really cook it fast. So
I'll be waiting, cut myself a slice of time when the wind blows.